Oh, this shit right here. Good morning, good morning. It's the Ty and Hoodie Show right here on 93.5 K-Day, each and every Sunday, 6:30 to 7 a.m. It's always a pleasure to try to bring as much positive information we can, as well as highlight our guests. And we're always blessed to have special guests. As of recent, it's been so much fun. I'm your host, Devine Smith, also known as Trey. And this is my man, the one and only Andrew Jessicoba. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing good, Trevon. How are you doing today?
Man, I can't complain. It's always good to be in the studio and via Zoom or however we get down and bring the information to the K-Day community as well as our YouTube audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I missed the opportunity to be next to you, but hopefully after we take all these vaccines and do what we need to do, we'll be able to hug each other again and shake hands, as usual.
Definitely. But today's guest, I'm really excited to have her on Zoom. I've known her personally for a couple years and got a chance to be around her. She took me down. I remember it was me, Romeo. We came down to the Fox News studio and just welcome in as family. It's the one and only, I call her the LA Queen of news, Miss Christine Devine. How are you doing this morning?
Hello, good morning. Yes, we're all doing the Zoom thing, right? But with COVID numbers changing, we'll be able to do that hug pretty soon.
Most definitely. So we just like I said, the show is about personal growth, and we want to touch bases with you and just tap in with you. I mean, you are one of the main voices of Los Angeles. Whether you like it or not, we tune into you and expect all we expect all the good and bad news to, but from out of your sources. So how's it going for you?
Well, like I said, with COVID numbers changing, COVID numbers continuing to go down, the vaccine opening up for everybody in mid-April, all adults, everybody, all ages of 16 on up, it's going to be a big change for us.
Well, I've been a fan. Like I said, I emigrated from Nigeria. I've been here over 20 years. I have been watching you on the news for over 20 years.
20 years. Well, I've been here a minute. Yeah. 20 years sounds like a long time.
It sounds like a long time. And it's such an honor to be talking to you. I mean, because for normal folks like us, folks like you see on TV seem like untouchable and so far away, but you're so humble to give us your time. And I'm so grateful. There's a lot.
We are untouchable with Zoom, right?
With Zoom, yeah. But I, being on TV and the whole world sees you and you bring news and information to people every day. I mean, how much pressure do you go through to make sure that the information you give out, it doesn't affect you personally at the end of the day?
Yes, that's a good question, because as you know, working in news, we deal with a lot of bad stuff. I say we sometimes hear the worst of the worst, but on the good side, we hear the best of the best as well. So I let the best of the best carry me. I think that balance in your life does help out, so that if you stay healthy with the food that you eat and you exercise and you surround yourself with love and friends and family, you have the balance of the world, not just the things that you consume that are so painful on the planet. So that's part of it. And then the stories that I try to do myself, I try to do the spiritually uplifting stories. So the people that I interview tend to be people and stories that are making change or positive, or have a moment of enlightenment for us and levity and happiness.
Miss Devine, I was curious about when you growing up, did you always know you want to be in news? Or I just like to hear people's stories. Some people knew they were going to be a doctor, some people didn't know. So did you always knew that you wanted to be in media or news? Or
Well, Trey, here's how it worked. My parents were both teachers, my mom and my stepdad. My
Okay.
stepdad was a high school principal. So you're always learning, you're always
Mhm.
studying. And I thought, well, how can I always be studying? I thought about being a teacher. And then for some reason, it hit me to do local news. And I thought, you're studying every day a new topic and you're giving a report, much like in school. So that's kind of how it happened. And I worked on the high school newspaper. We had a broadcasting class, and I just kept pursuing those kinds of classes when I went
Okay.
to college. And I guess it worked out okay.
Okay.
Well, so you went through all of that and you started your career. I mean, did you ever think, I mean, all this time that it was going to get this far? What were the challenges you faced when you started? Because it's a coveted position where you are. There's so many thousands of people that want your job, right?
Andrew, I will tell you, I didn't aim for Los Angeles. So I grew up in Arizona, kind of on the outskirts of Phoenix. And my
Okay.
dream was to be the Phoenix hometown girl. That was the plan. I was going to come back to Phoenix. Yay.
Yeah. Okay.
So what we do in our business is we move around a lot. So you usually go to college and you get a broadcast journalism degree or something like that. And you send out your resume tapes and you hopefully have made a newscast while you're in college. And then you apply in small cities because you have to learn the craft. We're an on-the-job business. So you want to practice reporting and interviewing and live shots and anchoring. And you do that in smaller cities. So pretty much if you ask anybody here at Fox 11, they've worked in a different market, different city. So I started in San Angelo, Texas. I have to say I graduated from Arizona State University. They've got a great broadcast journalism school. So graduating from ASU, first job was in San Angelo, Texas, which is near Midland, Odessa. Very small market.
And it's important because this is what the whole show is about, Ty and Hoodie Show. Like a lot of people see you on TV and they just think, oh, she's on TV. And from what you just said right now, there was a lot of things going on. Can you take us through like the mindset you have to have, like the don't quit, the inspiration, the positive motivation, the constant, competing with yourself and trying to get better, just to some of our listeners, just to kind of inspire them to see what they might have to do to get to the next level if they are trying or getting out the situation they're in?
Yeah, I think that I've never been the person who's really been a fighter in that I kind of follow the doors that seem to open more easily for
Mhm.
me. I followed my interests and I followed, if I did well at this thing, I kind of kept walking through that path. So for me, it wasn't as much of a struggle because I wasn't trying to beat down a door that maybe wasn't for me.
Mhm.
So, like I said, I did the high school newspaper and then I went to college for broadcast journalism. So I took all the classes. I worked on the campus radio station. So you build things, you build your resume as a student. Um, that's how I did it. Now, in this day and age, when we all have cell phones, we can all be a journalist of type
Mhm.
right now, of sorts with our own cell phone. But back in the day, that's how we did it. You built on your resume. I did internships at a TV station, internship at a radio station. So when I applied for the entry level job, I had a bit of a resume for an entry level person. So you don't think you're going to start out as an anchor in a big city. You got to be willing to go to, where an entry level job will take you while you learn the craft. So I say, invest in yourself, put in the time, put in the work, build on the resume and work your way up. But also for me, I followed the doors that opened for me. And I said to you guys, I didn't want to, I didn't think I was coming to LA. I was going to go to Phoenix, remember?
Yeah.
Well, that door didn't actually open for me. So I had to follow the doors that did open, and LA was a door that opened for me.
Mm.
I mean, you won over 16 Emmys. I mean, I read about you a little bit. I mean, for you to even win one Emmy, I mean, that means you have done some exceptional work. Right?
Well, keep in mind, unlike Hollywood, like Hollywood stars might make only a few Emmy-worthy or Oscar-worthy movies. Remember, news were on every single day.
Every single day, yes.
So there's a lot of chances to have some really quality projects. And then being an anchor, I've gotten to do a lot of the specialty projects, which tend to win some of the awards, where you put a little more time into it. It's a little bit more long form, so it can really breathe and be emotional or touching. So I'm lucky that my position allows for the opportunity for the kind of work that can be submitted for Emmys.
But it also comes with, the attributes and the qualifications and the characters and all the work you've put together over the years for them to assign you such, opportunity to earn an Emmy, I was supposed to say, right?
Well, I'll take that. I think that a lot of the anchors in town have a lot of Emmys because with our position, we're not, say, on daily breaking news or on a live shot covering the day's news. That would be like breaking news categories or news categories, but we are assigned a lot of the specialty projects, and those tend to also be the ones that tend to win a little bit more because, if you get to do a story for 5 minutes versus a minute 30, there might be more depth to your story.
Okay, makes sense.
I'm interested in knowing the day. How does the average day go for you? Maybe not so much detail, but how does the average day for you when you get in? Do you have a regimen that you do? Sit down, coffee. Read something. How does the day go for you throughout the time until you get on air? I'm just interested, being nosy as a person.
Sure. No, it's a great question because you see the news and you wonder what goes into that. So it's really a long day for me working night shift because I wake up and right away I want to see what's breaking, what's happening on the planet. So I'm checking a few of the headlines. I'm watching the local news real quick just to see what's happening. Is there breaking news that I'm going to have to go in right away? Is there something that's going to develop tonight? What's the main story? So that's first thing. I get up, I'm checking the headlines, then make breakfast, and I have a call with the station in the morning. And that's important to me because I get an idea of who's being assigned where and what we're covering. And I can also put my input into shaping the day's news. I think we should cover this because.
Okay.
So I like that phone call, which I didn't used to do, but now I do. And then we have another call at 2:00. So we're updating our assignments at 2:00. Another call at 3:00 for the 10:00 show.
Oh man.
And then I come into work and we gotta do makeup and hair because it's TV. And then we're on at 5, and we're on at 6. Then I take a little bit of a break, like stuff with you all or write a story. And then we do another call at 7:30, and then we're on at 10 p.m.
Man, that is a long day.
It is a long day. It is, yes,
Yeah.
because I think that you're constantly studying and catching up and checking in, and it's not a lot of grueling overtime unless it's breaking news.
Yeah.
Like I could leave at 11, but I usually leave at midnight.
That's an extremely long day.
So in your career, in your position, your job is or your career is to bring the news to people. Are there some news that you have conflict with personally that you say, what, I don't feel comfortable talking about this?
I would say we have great communication with our producers. And if there's copy that you want to change, you can, or you can certainly make the debate or argument for that. I like that having been here for 30 years at Fox 11, that they listen to my words of wisdom or my input or perspective. But I also have great trust in our people here because, this is the #2 market in the country. So by the time you're at LA, most people have done this for a little bit and you have some pretty good expertise in the business right now.
I'm just asking questions, Miss Devine. Do you does getting like the workload from the 2:00 and 3:00, do you find that sometimes where it maybe in the past it affected like emotionally part of your day and now you've kind of learned how to deal with it? Or do you have days where like, man, the news today is just so much drama and it's just, I don't want to say it brings you down, but it's just if you keep hearing stuff over and over, it's like, does it affect you personally? I'm saying because you know more stuff than we get because we wait for you to report it to us.
Yes, I think it really affected me when I came to LA, to be honest with you, because I was from the rural part of Phoenix, the outskirts, small town. My family's from a small town in upstate New York, and I started my first job in a small town. So you don't have some of the crazy news stories that you have in a big city. So when I first came here, I was really concerned that all these things were going to happen to me because I was reading them on the news. Then I also realized, though, the reason they make the news is because maybe they don't happen all the time or every day. Or they're really important issues that we need to look at some solutions. So for me, right now, if there's something traumatic in the news or heartbreaking in the news, I'm trying to look at what story can we do on a solution or explain the whys, or where is there some help on this issue? So I try to channel it.
Yeah.
So we've been in a pandemic a year now going on. What have you learned about yourself during this time that it's made you better, or you have to kind of like change and say, okay, this is, what have you learned about yourself?
Right. So when the pandemic first hit, now mind you, we had a lot of things going on. Politics with President Trump in office. So a lot of political things happening, the pandemic, and then protests, and then more politics. So for me, I realized it was a very important time on the planet. It was a very important time to have knowledge and information, and to be giving that out to people who needed the information, and to also find ways to uplift. So where maybe a year before I was doing a lot of my arts projects with fashion and mentoring some people in music, I really had to refocus back on news and current events. So well, this was kind of a downtime for them with the pandemic, or changing how they did their work and their business. For me, it was even more work.
And I love your stories and your situations where you highlight individuals and in certain situations in Los Angeles. I think that's something that, the city needs. And I remember when we did what was the show episodes where you brought in radio DJs, and that's when when we got a chance to talk. But I think that what you do for Los Angeles, it deserves more more respect than some may know, because a lot of people tune in for like what you do for the city of Los Angeles and try to highlight those LA situations.
Well, thank you. I try to bring voices to light. And somebody said once, you tell some stories of people who would not actually get on the news.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're raised to believe that everybody has a story. And so if you find something that's really kind of neat or special about someone, it might take a little extra work, because like I did a story just last night where I'd pitched it 2 or 3 times and it didn't get picked up. And I thought, well, it's one of those, if I don't do it myself, it's not going to get done.
Okay.
So sometimes that's just the way it works, but it was a great story and I love telling it.
So, I mean, now looking back in the last 20 years or 10 years ago, and then looking forward 10 years ahead, what would you have done differently 10 years ago? And what's the plan going on forward?
10 years ago. Well, I think I maybe invested too much in work and not enough in personal and family. Because, I didn't get married till really late, and I didn't have children and raise a family. And so I tell all the young girls, don't get so busy you forget about that. So that might be something different. This sounds really ridiculous, but I wish I had taken up, say, yoga and become a yoga expert. Taught on a Saturday, because as you get older, you want to stay in shape and stay physically fit. That would have been a great skill set. I wish I would have taken up martial arts and have been a black belt by now, just for self-defense and protection. Little things like that,
Okay, well, going forward in the next 10 years, what's in the horizon?
10 years. Well, I am in a later stage of a news career, which means I get to focus on some of the things that I want to do, the specialty projects, even more so. I really like that Fox lets me do the stories that I want to do without question. I just wish I had more energy and more time because there are a lot of great stories out there. You just don't always have the manpower within yourself even to get them all done. So I'll keep plugging along.
Yeah.
As we can. And then, if things ever change, I'll have to see what doors might or might not open that way. But I think I'll always want to do things that uplift people in some way.
I think I see a book coming. You need to have a book
Oh,
of those moments. You know, because you've been around a lot of moments.
you think?
Yeah, just a couple of them, right? A
Yeah.
couple moments, and just maybe take us through your time being in the backstage and the information that some of us may have not got. So look, there you
Okay.
go, a book. I see it in the future.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I actually have a movie script I want to write
Okay,
on
we're
one
not
of these encounters.
okay. So, do you have any information that you want to share with the public as far as your nonprofit information or anything? Is any events coming up that you might be a part of, or do you want people to know about?
It's funny you bring up events because with COVID times, that is how my life has changed. Usually I would have an event every weekend. And now with COVID times, we're all trying to stay safe and not be around crowds.
Yeah,
So
you're
I
right.
haven't done a lot of events. And it's weird because on a Saturday, it's like, I've got nothing to do but watch Netflix. Wow.
You you deserve it though.
You deserve it. Yeah. The rest you need.
Well, it's been so weird. I mean, the pro and con of it is, the pro is I don't have to put makeup on. I can stay in my pajamas if I want, and I can just kind of lay around and kind of rest and relax. The con is, the downside is that I'm not meeting the people that were the great stories.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you would go out, you would meet these amazing people doing amazing things. Like I wanted to meet the sweet Alice Harris of Watts. I wanted to meet those people, and I often met them at events.
Yeah.
So I realize now I'm going to have to go back to that to encounter these people. My co-anchor says, Chris, you've got a picture for everything. Everything, something pops up, Kobe Bryant or, Magic Johnson, you got a picture with them. Well, it's because of events.
Because of events. Now, do you catch yourself on the weekends when you're supposed to be on your downtime doing new stuff like, oh, I forgot I was off today? All the time, right?
Yes. And sometimes it's great to come into work on a Saturday and work on your projects because nobody's here. No one's going to call you to come run down and record something or do some breaking news or be here for that newscast. You can just sit and quietly think. Yeah.
So there's a lot of people who are going to listening to this, and people are going to watch us on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. What will be your advice for those who say, you know what, I want to be like her? What would be your advice for them?
Well, I would say there's a step to being a newscaster. Now, maybe I'm a little bit old school in how it works because there are a lot of different outlets now. There's the internet, there's social media. I mean, just last night we had breaking news and I was looking at all the independent outlets that were kind of covering a story. But the traditional way was you would get your resume built up. And if you go to a school that has a good journalism program, you learn how to write a story that's only going to be 1:30. You learn how to cover a live shot in 2 minutes. You learn the questions to ask. I just did a journalism workshop for a great group called Right Girl.
Okay.
And they were teaching these girls how to ask the questions. What questions do you ask? What information do you need? Like one thing, I always ask people how to spell their name because sure enough, you ask them that you think their name is John and they might spell it John or Jon.
Jon, yeah.
Right. So you got to ask. You always have to ask how to spell their name. Things like that we would teach young people.
Okay. No, that's very valuable information. Ms. Devine, I just want to, I know you have a busy schedule. We super thank you for checking in with us.
Thank you.
Everything that you said, that was my first time hearing. So it was all valuable information to us and I'm sure to plenty of our listeners. We just want to thank you so much, Ms. Devine, for checking in with us.
Well, I just got to ask you, are you guys having so much fun doing this?
People like you?
You know what? When Travon said, our next guest is Christine Devine. I'm like, the Christine Devine. It's like, yeah, the Christine Devine. I'm like, yeah. I said, how did you pull that off? But
and that's the way I feel too. When I do an interview, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting to interview so-and-so. I want to know about the matter, what they're doing. Yeah, that's exactly being a journalist. You want to know.
We feel so honored. I feel honored. I mean, little guy coming from Africa, and I'm here just talking to Christine Devine. I mean, are you kidding me? Really?
Africa has a special place in my heart because my stepdad, who he actually adopted me, but I say stepdad because people understand. He was in the Peace Corps in Tanzania.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow.
So great affection for Africa.
Well, I'm grateful. I mean, to have spoken to you, somebody that I've revered and watched and honored all these years. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Oh, thank you both.
No.
Have a great day.
You too, and we definitely love you, and we appreciate what you do for Los Angeles. If nobody tells you, we're telling you now.
Well, you have made my day. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Devine.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.